It had always been a high-risk strategy to invite over 100 world leaders to Copenhagen to bring a successful end to what have been fractious climate negotiations.
Copenhagen was one of the most difficult and frustrating experiences. To live with no binding agreement felt like such a setback.
By late afternoon, it had all turned sour. The nightmare negotiators had feared come true.
I found myself voicing that doom and gloom. At my very first press conference, an intrepid journalist asked me, "So, Ms. Figueres, do you think that the world will ever be able to agree to a global agreement on climate change?" And I found myself answering, "Not in my lifetime."
I will never forget the long days of negotiations in Paris in 2015.
That COP took place only a few weeks after the attacks on Paris, and hence in a very, very heightened environment.
Those final days and hours was intense.
We were working on adrenaline.
Especially on the final night.
We would not settle for an agreement that was adopted by consensus. We wanted an agreement that would be adopted by unanimity, leaving no country behind, because we knew that every country is being affected by climate change and every country has to be benefited by addressing climate change. So it did take quite a bit of maneuvering in those last few hours to get everyone on board.
L'accord de Paris pour le climat est accepté.
I was frankly in utter disbelief. It took me a few seconds. And then, as the reality sank, I jumped out of my seat, full of joy, but more than anything, with deep gratitude.
It was a resounding triumph for climate action and for multilateralism. The opportunity the Paris Agreement offered and still offers is extraordinary, but it is time critical.
And you saw what we did with our great administrator. You saw what happened last week with the so-called Paris Accord.
There have been moments I have felt very despondent. From some countries there has been a lack of moral leadership.
We will never have outside forces telling us what to do and how to do it, believe me.
I found the decision by President Donald Trump to withdraw the United States from the Paris Climate Change Accord bewildering. By many accounts, the world is set to see its warmest 5 years on record and is not on track to meet agreed targets. We must redouble our efforts, and I'm glad President-elect Joe Biden has prioritized rejoining as one of his first acts.
We have actually started the decade pretty well. Corporation after corporation that has come forward to adopt net zero targets. The financial sector is also moving, and we also have a growing number of national governments that have come forward to say they also understand that it is in their self-lightened interest to adopt net zero targets by 2050. But it is still not enough.
The choice is radical change today or disaster tomorrow. My optimism is placed in humanity's capacity to embrace the former.
Impossible is not a fact. It is an attitude, only an attitude. And that attitude we can change. And changing that attitude to a determination, conviction, and ingenuity, we can cut emissions by half by 2030.